Hey there everybody, this is the Swamp Cleaner here, back with another video for you. Now I know it's been a little while, but you can tell why. A lot of things have been going on, a lot of things have been changing. Uh, there has been a disruption to the normal routine, as one can say, because we are dealing with a pandemic. We are dealing with Corona. It is going to still get worse before it gets better. There's a lot of downplayers, naysayers, there's a lot of spin narrative going on, there's a lot of attacking, there's a lot of shouting, there's really vile things being said. It's all getting nuts and crazy, and the real panic hasn't even started because we haven't even gone to full lockdown yet. So we're dealing with now reporting at over 200,000 people are infected. We got 8,000 people dead, and most, or I mean, all United States have cases of coronavirus now, and some states are going into phases of hard lockdown, like you're seeing that's happening in countries like France, Spain, and Italy, where people are told to shelter in place, can't go outside unless it's an emergency. I stocked up weeks ago because thanks to the people like Tim Pool, Sticks, Hex, and Hammer, they saw this coming. They saw it was going to get bad, so they told us to prepare. I'm like, I was reluctant at first, about a week or two about that, and then about for a week or two, and then I was like, all right, I got to do this. So like mid-February or so, I went out, stocked up on a bunch of stuff, and about now mid-March, we're finding out that you're probably going to be on a full lockdown. You won't be able to go outside instead of essential things. I mean, I don't want to be right, but I told people around me that you need to start preparing, and they all just laughed and brushed it off. And now, at my place of work, half of it's closed down, and we're operating at limited capacity because we're supposed to limit interaction. So there you go. A lot of people are going to be limited hours. I mean, I don't know how much I'll be affected, but I mean, I'm still going to get a paycheck, thank heavens. But I mean, again, there's a lot of misconception, there's a lot of misinformation being thrown around. And again, Twitter, this place that you see on your screen here, is a cesspit. It's a vile, horrible place where people just like to take drive-by cheap shots and just think they own the world. And yes, I'm a massive hypocrite because I do that as well. But I mean, that's what you do on Twitter. I mean, you have to have a certain level of degeneracy around you for yourself to be on this site here. See, I'm just on this stock market thing here, and you can just see all these people just laughing, yucking it up about how the stock market's crashing, and all those promises Donald Trump made, it's all gone. Like what's he gonna do? He doesn't do anything. See, look, Donald Trump stays so far racist lunatic, keeps insulting Chinese Americans. Invokes Defense Production Act way too late. Trump lied, people died. That's something else I want to talk about. I wonder how much Chinese love syrup, as a term that Jeremy from the Quartering says, has Twitter chugged to replace the China lied, people died hashtag with Trump lied, people died. Because remember, this is the misinformation that is coming through and that people are just buying hook, line, and sinker. That somehow Trump is mismanaging all this and he was like hiding it or he was like ignoring it. No, he wasn't. Back in January, he put out a travel ban to China because China was hiding it for 2 months. And then when we find out about it, he puts a travel ban out. But then, ooh, he's called a racist, even though Chinese isn't a race, it's just an ethnicity. I mean, people don't understand what race or ethnicity is apparently on the left. But yeah, so he was called racist. So we're supposed to, keep all the fights coming in. But oh no, now he hasn't done enough, and more people are going to die because it's his fault because Trump lied, and people are going to die now. See, like the the have your cake and eat it too mentality. These like we're always right, you're always wrong. Lefties because their positions and always change and shift is so annoying. And you got like these verified Twitter hashtag or Twitter verified Twitter people, Palmer Report, Grant Stern, all these other people. They're just like, huh, look, all of the stuff is gone. If Trump would just shut the f up one day, the stock market would rise 1,000 points. Oh, see, it's very pathetic. And instead of coming together, people go onto Twitter. And yeah, I guess since if they're locked up, yeah, more people are going to be on Twitter. So I guess the level of vulgarity and the level of nastiness will increase over the next couple weeks. But yeah, all these people are trying to dunk on the president as if somehow this is all his fault, as if somehow after he's done being president before he goes to bed, he somehow goes to his biohazard um, um, lab and then just creates coronavirus on the side and then, sends it out to the masses. So, okay, better close stock markets now. Dow Jones drops like a rock. See, another 2,000 points. See, Trump recession is getting. See, Trump recession. This is not Trump's. This is uncertainty and fear that's impacting the markets to a crazy degree. Like this. I mean, this didn't happen during like Ebola. This didn't happen during Zika, swine flu, bird flu, any of these other things. But apparently, with Corona, it goes nuts. So I mean, is there some legitimacy to how bad this is behind it, or is this all just fear, or is it another conspiracy where could this all be driven to end and corrupt the Trump presidency? Who knows? I mean, that's what you're getting on Twitter here. It's just a cesspit. Here you go. Like Paul Joseph Watson, Hillary Clinton, and much of the mainstream media continue to amplify Chinese Communist propaganda by accusing President Trump of racism for blaming Beijing for the corona. Well, I mean, why is it's China is not a race? Chinese is not a race. I mean, if you think the only race or the only people in Asia are Chinese, that's kind of racist because there's a whole bunch of different ethnicities of Asian. There's like they would actually tell you like a Vietnamese person or a Korean would be insulted if you said that they were Chinese. This is that's what I'm getting at here. So I mean, these people on the left, they're trying to dunk on the president, and they're just showing their own racism. It's just, it's sad, it's hilarious, but all in all, what the fuck? It doesn't matter. We're dealing with something that's worse than the flu right now. I mean, did anybody see that Washington Post or Washington Times or New York Times article where it had the slider? Shows goes from 40% infection rate to 70% infection rate, and you have like a 0.5 mortality all the way up to 3.5. If they jacked it up to 70% infection rate and then a full 3.5 mortality rate, that's like 7 million people dead. That's not the flu. That's a lot worse than the flu. And even at a 1% mortality rate, that's still over a million dead. That's still worse than the flu. I mean, and testing numbers are going to go through the roof, so infected cases are going up, so mortality rate will drop. So maybe that will play on the stock market. But again, this doesn't matter. Apparently, like, I hate looking at stock market numbers because I do not see the stock market intrinsically connected to the physical economy. Like people out doing their jobs, that's what pulls it through. Like people on the stock market worrying about and speculating and then causing a tizzy and then making it swirl and then crash. That's on them. That's on their itchy trigger fingers and their scared little minds. I mean, we're stuck in a tough spot here because you have the media playing that fine line of like, oh my god, it's gonna be a complete utter chaos, and you see like Fox News. Like, I'm gonna have to criticize Fox News. Like, even their commercials, they don't even cut away from the crawl. They have Corona pandemic, and it's like you got the music. all like this suspenseful music playing and making it like it's you're watching a real life World War Z kind of broadcast, and it's frustrating. The media loves to play into it because it gets them clicks and money at the expense of creating a lot of the panic. So I mean, have you seen the bear shells? Yes, but that was an influx of panic buying. The supply chains, for the most part, as have been documented now, are not adversely affected, so things will be resupplied, so there will be a constant chain of supplies. People don't need to panic. You can still go out and get your stuff. There will be there will be things there to buy. You will be able to get the things you need. But it's just you have to limit. You have to limit your contact, wash your hands, do all these things that we were all taught as kids. We have to remember what we were taught as kids now. And it's going to be us against this virus until we get a vaccine. Because yeah, I've heard some good things coming down the pipe about treatments that can maybe limit and shorten the severity of the sicknesses and the symptoms once you get them. And any light again at the end of the tunnel, in my opinion, this is my opinion. I'm not trying to give anybody any advice because I'm going to tell you my prediction here. But any light at the end of the tunnel that shows that we are turning the corner and getting a handle on this virus, stock market's going to rebound. Now, because this is temporary, this is all has happened within a month, within like not even like 3 weeks when it comes to the stock market. Within 3 weeks, we've seen 10,000 points just vanish. A lot, I mean, like a lot happens, and then not a lot happens in 3 weeks. I mean, prospectively, if you look at things, I mean, there's I mean, it takes how long to grow vegetables? Like, if you're growing them, like, to keep a supply chain going, there's ebbs and flows. So it's bad right now, but it's gonna ease off. Even though they say the peak of infection will be 45 days from now, and then but it depends on how quickly we can get the social distancing stuff ingrained in people's heads, because you got these kids on spring break now because they've pretty much closed the schools. They all go down to Florida and on the beaches together. Dumbasses. I mean, they gotta take this seriously, because if a lot of these kids are probably Bernie bros, and they're just like, oh, the economy's tanking because capitalism and Donald Trump sucks. Like, well, if you get sick, like, let's say a lot of you guys like work. Well, hopefully you work somewhere that hasn't been shut down yet. But if you are working and then you become sick, you can't work, so you cannot contribute to keeping the economy up. You then now have to go to the hospital, or you have to stay home and not contribute to the economy, or even worse, be a strain on the healthcare system. So, hello, duh. How about you take the advice that you've been given, isolate, make sure you guys don't get sick, so you can continue to study, you can continue to do your jobs and all those things. It's pretty simple. I so everybody's got to come together, and finally I have seen some like good murmurings coming out of the Democrats that they're on board with what's going on now. They just want to now focus because they see that this is very important. Because like, when did we close things down like this? We didn't do it for Ebola or Zika or any of these other viruses. This is not just the flu. So I mean, it's good to finally see that some bipartisanship is occurring in the houses, but when it comes to the media and Twitter, it's just one big narrative-driven cesspit. It's a dumpster that's on fire, rolling downhill towards like a a gas station where there's like a gas leak, and a bunch of children are playing in a playground next door. That's what this is. Okay, they've and the people at the top of the hill, like these idiots on Twitter, like the lefties on Twitter here, and then you got your pundits like Don Lemon uh Anderson Cooper and stuff pushing that dumpster down that hill. And they're just like, ooh, let's watch. I mean, it's pretty disgusting. So remember, everybody, this started in China, started in the city of Wuhan. This is a China virus. It comes from there. So you can call it a China virus or a Chinese virus or whatever you want to call it. That's not inaccurate. It's not racist because Chinese is not a race. It's an ethnicity of a race. And everybody needs to take precautions. Hopefully you have prepared by now. If you haven't, you should be able to. It's not like things are going to run out. You should be able to. You're restricted. You're restricted from going out in some places at night, but during the day, as long as you take your precautions and practice proper social distancing, you should be able to go to the store calmly and grab what you need, including your toilet paper, because toilet paper is back. Because the toilet paper industry has answered the call and they are sending out tons of it heading your way. So don't you worry. To a city near you, toilet paper is a common. So don't worry, everybody. You should, as long as we take the strict measures, and remember, it will still get worse. People are still going to get infected and at a quicker rate for the next month or so. So to minimize that, maybe make that month a little bit less, take strict adherence to what the local authorities are saying, what the governor says, and up from the very top from the coronavirus task force. So please just be wise, be pragmatic, take it seriously, but don't overreact. Well, overreacting, like Dr. Fauci says, he loves it when people tell him he's overreacting, so that means he's ahead of the virus. So maybe overreact a little bit, but, don't buy 20 million rolls of toilet paper. All right? So, on that note, I'm going to leave you there. This is Swamp Cleaner. I'll probably actually make a few more videos now, especially if my work does close down fully and I'll be just staying at home. I'll definitely be able to just pump out some more videos and just maybe have some fun, do some live streams with some friends of mine. You can check out my Twitter for times about that. I'll usually post a notification maybe a couple hours before I'll do a live stream with somebody. They'll be random. I don't have anything structured, so if you are paying attention, you'll be one of the lucky few to see one. All right, so again, everybody stay safe, stay careful, wash your hands, sanitize, cover your mouth when you cough, all those things. And you know what? I think I have actually coughed once or twice during this video. My allergies are starting to act up, so I actually forgot to cover my mouth. So shame on me. Shame on me. Anyway, this is Swamp Cleaner, and I'll catch you guys later.